there you go. Hello, screen recording. We are active. Okay, so that's pretty much it, guys. Hopefully this makes sense. We had relative equal lows on ES, which you can see. Relative equal London got taken. We've swept Asia as well. We're trading into unfilled bullish imbalances. So we are rebalancing price. A likely scenario is that we see bullish price action as of now, a shift in market structure, also on NQ inversing this bearish order block. All right, let's take a look at the chat. What's everyone saying? So, Milo, can you please suggest a London macro to backtest? Okay. Well, the two London macros, if you want to, take a visit, would be 2:45 a.m. and 3:15. So that's your first window, 2:45 a.m. to 3:15 and 3:45 to 4:15 a.m. Okay, and you can mark out from Asia the previous session to get your liquidity levels for London. Same process applies. Got 150 people on the stream. It's looking good. High screen recording. Oh yes. How often do you need to recalculate a bias? Is it before every macro? Yes, it is. So we do it at 9:40, 10:40 and 11:40. And the time frames that are really going to change the most is the 5 and 15. And once you've done your bias on the daily, the 4 hour, and you've done the complete all the way down from 9:40, you don't have to re-look at the hourly, 4 hour and daily, especially the daily and the 4 hour really, too much, because they're not going to change as much. So if you just flick on the 5 and 15, keep those updated. Okay. All right. So the next time that we actually redo our bias is at 10 a.m. So once we get to 10 a.m, we redo our bias there because we get a closure on the 4 hour, everything below it. So 10 a.m, end of macro. So with this candle closure, our shift in market structure will be above this short-term high, which is good for ES because we've just put in a more local high. So a shift here would give us potentially an order block paired with a gap. We'll see. If you guys put in the chat, can you check 4 hour again? It should be bearish. Okay, let's take a look. With 4K pillow, what contract sizes? Oh, okay. Should I aim to trade? Okay, I would use the scaling plan and double the risk management funded section. Okay, so go to the risk management funded section and double it. So double the contract sizes. You'll go from risking 300 to 600. With a 4K drawdown, you should be risking 600 per trade. Still apply the 75% rule. So head into account management section on the Discord and follow that accordingly and know what point you are going 75% of your account so you can manage risk and ensure that you never lose the account. You can see inverse bearish order block here, okay, and it is forming a gap to be paired with it. Currently no shift in market structure. The request for the 4 hour time frame to be reviewed. Okay, how would the 4 hour be bearish? See, I'm not blind, but maybe at some points. And we had a 4 hour bearish gap. It got inversed. That's a bullish confluence. 4 hour as of now is in a bullish fair value gap. Okay, so we are bullish on the 4 hour. 4 hours trading out of a bullish order block as well. So there's 3 confluences to the 4 hour being bullish. Now we base it only off imbalances. Imbalance wise, it is bullish. Hopefully that makes sense. So we closed up this area to have no fair value gap. Okay, we formed a bearish order block on ES. Milo, what about the daily? Looks like it took the high It has to be a swing high. It has to be a separated swing high. It can't be previous day candle high. It has to be a swing high, applying to all time frames to neutralize a bias. So with the bias, okay, we don't have to be, you don't have to send yourself schizophrenic, you know, with all the time scanning bias left, right and center, okay? If you have a bias like we do now with the daily, the 4 hour and the hourly as bullish regardless, it's already a bias leaning towards. Now the 5 and 15 to shift bearish at any point, I don't care. It would make the trade B plus, but either way, the bias would be bullish regardless. You can see, so bearish order block, if we shift, that'll be that paired on ES. No, so if the trade's B plus or A plus, that's not something we sit back and essentially work out, you know. I'm gonna know from taking the trade if it's B plus or A plus, right? But the only time you ever go half size, you don't go half size on B plus or A plus, you know. If the trade's valid, you take it with full size. And the only point that you go half size is when your drawdown's affected on your account, so you're below 75%. If you're running a 50k account, which 90%, 95% of you are, okay, 2k times 75% gives you 1500. So if you drop below 1500 left of drawdown, you're on half size. So you go to the funded section, and this does not apply to evals. If you're on an eval and you drop below 1500, you continue at full size because you're not making any money, right? On a funded account, dropping below 1500 means you go on the funded risk management section and you half your contracts completely to be risking all the way through the board, right? So you're then risking $150 per trade. So ES has shifted structure here, which you can see. NQ's behind slightly. We have a bullish gap on ES paired with an inverse bearish order block to be mitigation paired with the gap, but no displacement on NQ. So nothing as of now. So with a shift on NQ, it would be B plus, trading in that 5. So essentially, with a failed shift in market structure right now, NQ's the weaker pair. When we fail to shift, as you guys know, probability lies that it's going to seek some sort of liquidity, whether it's the short-term low or continuing to draw lower. Is anyone else stream quality tweaking? You look big in the Instagram story with KDS. You bulking right now, bruh? Well, I'll tell you what. I was bulking, and for the past 2 days since I've kind of, you know, when you get out of the routine just slightly, since I've got to Bangkok, I'm staying in this the suite or whatever, and I've not had the normal flow of, you know, eating. But yeah, I'm definitely I put on a bit of size, you know. But KDS, he's bigger. He's quite a bit bigger than I am. What was the start weight at the beginning of the bulk? I think it was 81. So I wouldn't say there's much of a difference yet. You know, you guys will see in the next 2-3 months, I should be able to get up to about, you know, 85, 90. So there you go. Failed displacement. NQ trades back to the low, being the weaker asset. Bearish S&T on NQ there. Just a little lower time frame one. See, so obviously there was no positions. So it's taken the short-term low, bullish S&T on ES. Okay, and now with that low being taken, the likely scenarios that we now look for is shift. See, we've just briefly taken out sell stops. Well, I mean, if you actually ask for start weight at the beginning of the bulk, I would say, I've been going gym for about 7 years. How old am I? 21. So I've been going gym since I was 13, 13, 14. That's when I started hitting the gym. Because I got in the gym before you was allowed to go in the gym at 15. So it was 13. Yeah, about 7 years now, 7, 8 years. So you could probably sit there and think like, fucking hell, you should be way bigger. Yeah, I should be, but the eating side of things has never been that consistent. See, we got Testosterone himself inside of the gym right now with an AirPod in, and he's not listening to, some Ziz remixes. He's got the live stream in. He's locked in. Is that in kg? What dumbbells we pressing, brother? Yeah. Yeah, those 42s for me, I'd struggle with the 42s. Can't lie. I would struggle with the 42s. I'll push 40s for 6 reps. I did 3 sets of 40s, 6 reps on flat bench, but 42s, gotta work. Gotta bulk a bit more, I do. Yeah, testosterone's on a whole nother level right now, Bro took discipline to a whole different level, he's disciplined in monitoring price, but he's not wasting no time sat at a chair. Now, do I advise it to be the best way to monitor price? Not really, but because he's monitoring the stream, I'm kind of essentially guiding him through of things that he might not see. So in all sense, he's in a good position. How it works with executing using Trade Syncer on your phone in the gym, or maybe he's whipping out a laptop, you never know. He's probably got a whole desk next to the bench press, Been curling bar and done my elbows. Have to lay off the gym this week. I always wondered in the gym, when you go to the gym and you see someone with this huge bag and he gets out about 15 bottles and all this, maybe that was testosterone. He was getting ready for his New York Open, whips out his monitor and his laptop. Pre-workout. I stopped taking pre-workout probably 6 to 8 months ago now, because I get the biggest heart palpitations ever, and it probably lead to a heart attack. So I don't take pre-workout, and what is it? Also, I find pre-workout, it stimulates me so much that I lose my mind, like in the gym. I remember in Miami, I was going to this gym called, not Elevation. Before Elevation, I was going to Miami Strong Gym. They sold a pre-workout in there, and it was 250 mgs of caffeine. 250 or 300. It was 300. So I drank this 300 one, and I literally felt, I felt probably like Genghis Khan, you know what I mean? Like elevated off the ground. And I was like that for the rest of the day. Even after, when you leave the gym, you just want to, get some food in, but you're so dialed in, you know what to do with yourself, you know what I mean? So I don't really like that pre-workout stuff, to be honest. I got pretty dependent on it as well, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly, your body starts to rely on it. I was like, shit, I need a C4, let's get a C4 in now. I was also addicted to Red Bulls for a long time. I haven't drank a Red Bull in, it's been a while. Now I just have an Americano every single morning. So I have an Americano, black, done. That's it. So I have one Americano in the morning, I usually hit the avocado toast pretty much every day and 5 scrambled eggs. And then I like to either have some sort of smoothie with it as well, you know, like a green smoothie, but watermelon is the best, you know. 10 years ago, they used pre-workouts with DMAA, which is similar structure. People used to be wired for days. Oh, wow. Mute chat notifications, absolutely. Well, I've just done that, so you guys will not hear that Discord notification sound again. So 10 a.m., right, just passed. If we look at the 4-hour time frame, okay, the 4 hour is now shifted to be bearish. So it was bullish, inversed, bearish. It's the next low. Let's edit. Okay, daily time frame. We don't look at the daily because nothing's changed. The hourly's still bullish. The 15 is likely going to be bullish. Okay, it is. And same with the 5. 5's likely, yeah, is bullish as well. Alright, so our bias stands 80% bullish. A shift in market structure is now above this high. Matter of fact, I'm going to delete the market structure shift because there's no point continue to drag it. Alright, I'll mark this bearish order block. Okay. OB. Didn't take the low, would be a mitigation. Milo, I have got to the part that I have one funded with 4.5k, also bought 4 more accounts. I'm now 5 funded accounts of 50k. What comes next? Okay, so you're in a good position, right? And you've bought 4 more accounts and you've already got them passed. Okay, now that one account that you've got to a 4.5k profit, you're gonna now be trading double risk management sheet on the funded section inside the Discord. So head to the top and get that sheet written down. The same 30, 25 handles, 20 handles, 15, 10, write that down the same. Position size, double it across the board, okay? For that one account, and then the other 4 accounts, they need to be ran. Now, what I do advise is that you run this under Trade Syncer, because on Top Step, I don't believe Top Step X has a cross multiply. Maybe it does. I think they might have included it recently. What I'm saying is, you want to be risking 300 on the 2k drawdown fresh 50s and 600 on the other one. Now, it can be easily done with Trade Syncer, where you can run it at a 2x. Okay, so for every one lot, you get 2 lots on your account, which has got a buffer. Okay, and then your other accounts are running at a 1x. You can run a 1x, and that'll be standard across. You have your Top Step accounts. Now continue to trade it, okay, over until you take a payout. And on your next payout, okay, so 5 winning days, I want you to build up the balance. So when you're at 4.5, anything really above 7.5k, so you're up about, well, you're up essentially up 7.5, but you're up 3k above your, you know, your threshold of what you leave in the account. You're gonna be up 3k, and at that point you can take a payout, right? So that's usually my point that I take a payout, is when I get to around past 7.5. Sometimes I leave it running towards 10, and that's how I would, you know, run it. Trade it over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks. Once you reach your payout, even if you take, you know, it doesn't sound like a lot, but even if the starting stages, you take 500 from each account, that 2.5k that you get, okay, is then going to be applied on the prop firm section in the Discord. Take a look at it, all right? So the prop firm section in the Discord allows you to go from 5 top steps to making 20k a trade. very, very easily. Okay, it doesn't take that much time. You know, we are talking months, but that's not that much time, you know. Before you know it, everyone's going to be dancing around. You know, Gary and Steve are going to be down for their New Year's resolutions, you know, but you've already achieved it. So best time's always to start now. And what you could choose to do, which might make your, actually, you know, this will make your life easier. I know I'm going on a little bit here. This will make your life easier. If right now I would take that 4.5k account, this is what I would do right now. I would do this. I would take that 4.5k account, take a 50% payout, bring it down to 2.1k in a profit. So you've got a $2,100 drawdown, which then levels all of your accounts. So they're all at the same drawdown. You've got a 2k buffer. You've got your other 50k accounts with a 2k buffer. You're running them all copied on Top Step X. Make life simple for yourself. That 2k payout that you take, then that goes to step number 2, and you apply it obviously to getting your take profit and my fund of futures accounts, because that's going to make you more money right now. Because yes, you have the 4.5k buffer, but you're only making an extra essentially $500-ish per trade. So there's really not much of a difference. But what there is a difference is making an extra 6,000 a trade, okay? So the quicker point that you get there is gonna be a nice, good position for yourself. So I'll say it again, the process is that you take a payout today, 2 to 2.2k, use that 2.something k payout, you get your take profit, my funded futures accounts. Once you've purchased those, you then sign up on TradeSync for $150 a month. Okay, you put your my funded futures, your take profit, and your Top Step accounts in TradeSync. You group them together. You have one lead account, one execution, and then you're on road to be making 9k per trade just off that alone. Very easy. And by the way, that's 9k per trade on a standard risk. When you scale those accounts, you'll be up to 18. And then if you get alpha futures in there as well, you'll be able to boost yourself up to around 22k per trade on scale. That's what I would do. How many accounts do I trade? Okay, so I've got 20 50k accounts with Apex under my mum's name, as they don't let me purchase evals under my name. And then I've got 5 my fund of futures, 5 take profits, 1 Top Step live, the take profit, 3 alpha futures, 1 FTMO 400k account, and a live account with TradeAvate. Now I run my fund of futures, take profit, alpha futures, and Top Step. I run that on TradeSync. FTMOs executed on my phone. And I'm currently looking at a few more prop firms, you know. And I'm in contact with a few people to see which ones are most trusted, because I was never trading with take profit and these other prop firms before. But I got recommended and they've been great. So it's an interesting first day of macro. We've had accumulation, manipulated, accumulated, manipulated. So we are just waiting, following our bias, for a shift and for price to distribute. So one of the points that would invalidate the trade is this high. Do you think his lead account is his live? No, for TradeSync, my lead account is my Apex PA. I run a 50k as my lead, and then it just leads on the rest of the 50k accounts that I'm running. Yeah, you just got to use TradeSync answer to GNS 2811, you know. You got to set up a trade syncer account and then group them all together in a list. And the software is very, very good, and it doesn't have relatively any glitches. I only had it one time where I closed out my position and it didn't close out the rest, but I managed to fix that very easily by just hitting the flatten all button, and I flattened all of my positions. So it didn't do it automatically one time a couple months ago, and I just flattened the position myself, if you ever see that. And I had one time when it hit a double contract on one of my accounts, but there was all at a 1x, so that was obviously some sort of glitch, but it's all good. How many accounts does everyone have as of now? Funded accounts. There's many different, everyone's at a different level, Some people have one funded account, some people have nothing, some people have, we've got 2, 5, 5, 10, 2, 24, 10, 2, 1, 12. Alright, so we're about to run outside of macro. Yeah, Dom, how many funded accounts are you currently running at the moment? I believe you got 46? Or maybe he's not in the stream, he's probably taking his missus out for a nice steak, a Friday steak after yesterday. He's clocked out. So we are outside of macro here. First day of macro, as you can see, that's what it's been, right? Nothing. So no positions in the first AM. I'll delete London lows, leave Asia there just so we know it's been swept. I'll make it a bit cleaner. Alright, cool. So we got 10:45. We got 2 more macros to finish off the week, finish off the month, right? It's been a good month. So for the average person inside of this Discord who has 10 funded accounts, so you got 10 50s, okay? So let's put this into perspective for this month, all right? So only 10 funded accounts, right? You guys going into early next year, you're going to be in a different position, right? And every single one of you is going to be scaling up to 20k per trade. Now, 10 accounts, okay, producing a $600 profit per trade is $6,000, pretty simple maths. And 6,000, we're up 7.2R on the month. Okay, so that means you would times that by 3 and then 1.2, which would give you plus 3k. So only on 10 funded accounts this month, so 10 50s. For example, 5 50k top steps on normal position size, normal, no scaling, nothing. So on a standard account, 5 top steps and 5 take profits this month, you would make 21,000 profit at the end of this month, You'd be currently sat at 21. Obviously, it's not 20k per trade, 6k per trade. You're really lacking your earning potential, as you should be scaling up from there, but that's still a very good figure, right? And obviously, I know some of you guys inside of this group are from third world countries. Now, making $20,000 per trade, how far does that go in your economy? Because in the US, $20,000 average is 1 winning trade per week, so that's going to be 80k a month. In the US, it still goes places, right? And you'll be living a very nice, comfortable lifestyle in the US. But if you're from India or you're from Colombia, you know, you really are living like an absolute G. In Pakistan, 20k USD is 5.6 million. Right. So you're a millionaire off one trade. Yeah, that's jokes. We're gonna have Moon Ebb running for president soon. He's gonna have more capital. You know, there was a hedge fund actually in either London or New York. Okay, and they manipulated the Indian market, and hundreds of millions was made. Hundreds of millions. I believe it was on either options or one of the indexes on the, you know, the Indian stock market. They was manipulating it, and there was actual way of the way. I watched a video on it, but I'm not really too familiar with it. But there was actually a hedge fund. It's gone pretty viral for it, and they got banned. The Indian government, they put something in place where I don't believe. The biggest question, is he speaking? Absolutely. It was muted because as of now, inside of this, you know, second day of macro, there hasn't been any opportunities for us to, you know, capitalize off. If there is, then, you know, I'm the first person you're going to hear of. And the bias currently stands as bullish as of now. So there isn't actually any positions inside of this second day of macro, most likely. Obviously, 3 minutes to go. Can you go over why the first macro was a invalid trade? Okay. So first AM macro, when you say invalid trade, what type of invalid trade are you referring to? You tell me that. So from 9.45 through this price action here, what type of position from here to here would you say is a potential trade that someone could consider? Hey, at Milo Trelaw, you a big kombucha guy. What does that mean? Kombucha. Someone translate. What does that mean? Oh, is it drink, is it? No, I only drink, okay, I only drink rum or whiskey. And if they ask me for a mixer, I don't do mixers. I don't drink Coca-Cola with my rum and my whiskey. Thank you very much. You know, I'm drinking a nice old bottle, and I do not want to mix it with Coca-Cola, Pepsi, or lemonade. You know, so I would drink it. Oh, it's not alcohol, is it? Oh, it's a health drink. Oh, I don't know about this kombucha stuff. No, I don't know about this kombucha. You know, I drink watermelon, fresh coconut, but I thought you was talking about an alcoholic drink. I mean, I rarely drink, potentially on Friday, Saturday, you know, or if I'm having a cigar, I do like to have a glass of, what did I have the other day? Well, it was 1906. If the bottle is a 1906, does that mean it was made in 1906? Is that a real thing? Is that true? It was made in 1906. How is it still around? How have they still got these old bottles? Who is making them from 1906? And how are they still in stock? Yeah, a glass of whiskey or rum, you know, quite nice. I mean, if you're in the UK, then I do recommend trying Woodford Reserve. That's a nice whiskey. And you always leave your whiskey and your rum, you leave it in the freezer. If you're putting in the fridge or you're putting in a cabinet, you're really missing out on kind of thickening it up a little bit. Ice cold with a square block of ice in a nice glass. But no, guys, I don't do drugs, you know, so I don't smoke weed, I don't do mushrooms, I don't do anything that alters my brain capabilities. Hence why I've never even taken testosterone or anything, right? Because I'm concerned that the way I feel now is sick, you know, I feel amazing. So I don't want to take something that might then have me with some mad mood swings, you know, because I get mood swings regardless. And, you know, if it amplifies it, then I might go through phases where I'm like, you know, uncontrollable or, you know, so yeah, I mean, having a glass of rum or whiskey is the furthest I'll go to taking or having anything, you know what I mean? It actually improves my capabilities as a human. Do you take snus? No, I don't take snus. When I was in sixth form in the UK, the thing that put me off snus is that someone took it and threw up in the bin. So I said I'd never take it. Kombucha. I don't know if those kombucha stuff, you know, surely that's what the females... Isn't that cold coffee, like an iced latte? And it's like a green iced latte. It looks like that, right? That's a kombucha, right? I think I've seen people getting that. Oh, that's a matcha. Yeah, what is it with this matcha stuff? Just, you know, if you're getting a coffee, you obviously need some energy. Just get an Americano. Get an espresso. If you get a nice espresso, that's better than an Americano itself. Let me get a matcha. That's gay flags. That's gay flags. Milo, have you had a girlfriend? So the last girlfriend I had, well, it's going to be quite a while ago. I don't deal with girlfriends, to be honest. You know, it's a waste of time. Let's put it in... Oh, it's been a while. I've only had two. So I've had two. One of them lasted in school in the UK for 2 weeks. And and then the second girlfriend and the final one, which made me think it's not even worth my time. This one was the one that sent me over the edge, and I was like, you know, I'm here for business, right? I'm not here to spend money, waste time, and chat to you all day, okay? And having essentially another contact that I have to update through the day. I'd rather just be myself, okay? So this one was a girl from Mexico, and I must have been with her for about 2 months. 2 months? 2 months, I think. And then I went back to the UK. This was before I made money from trading. So since I've been paid out, I've not taken anyone seriously. You know what I mean? And that's the world we live in today. We are not in 1942 anymore, guys. We are in 2025. So 90% of women, you can't take them seriously anyway. Just enjoy your time, you know. Don't spend your time. Here we go. We've got some Italian food coming in hot. So should I just bin off my girlfriend? Well, it really depends, like, you know, what type of girlfriend you've got. It really depends. But the situations I find myself in is extremely difficult to find one which is actually, you know, not going out 24/7, going on girls' nights out, getting drunk off her head. And, you know, I don't really have the time for it. I can't be bothered. maybe in 5, 7 years. But why stick to one when you can have 10? I just don't see. I just get so bored. It's always the same thing as well, you know. It's the same meals, the same. Eventually, you get in the routine. You get so bored of that routine. So, yeah, it's boring. Isn't it arse licking? What does that mean? Type of question. I don't understand that, brother. We have another question. Any of your old friends try reaching out to you since? Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, every single one of them. Every single one of them. And even people who back said that plain sight to other people, they even said that I would never make any sort of money. And I was trading at the time. I was not trading ICT, I was trading with different concepts. I was trading all over the place. And I spoke about it a lot because it was the only thing on my mind, right? So everyone kind of knew what type of path I was looking to go down. And their response was that I would never have any sort of success or, you know, any sort of income from it at all. You know, and every single one of them, they are there. And they really want the guidance and the source to be put on, but they don't. You know, the funny thing is, let me tell you this about people, is that they will hate until you make some progress, but they still hate when you make the progress. But when you make enough progress and enough money, it gets to a point where they can't handle it anymore but to text you. And then me being a kind person, I have text back a few people and I said, this is what you need to do. You need to watch this video, you need to study this, you need to do this. And it is the guaranteed blueprint if you do it. But the thing is, if someone is in a position where they're not making money, or they are in a position, okay, and they want to get to here, the reason why they're not there is because they're not there and they did not do the steps that you did. Otherwise, if you want money bad enough, you will get money. You will. It's guaranteed. I always knew from the start, I tried multiple businesses, right? And then finally, on my last straw, but it wasn't my last straw, it was my last idea, was ICT. And I found the 2022 and I watched it, I back tested it, forward tested it, and I narrowed it down to a model. Now, you guys are already in the right place. You're not bouncing from business to business like I did. At the start, I did not know where to go, right? And I always started off with thinking that I had to invent something. That was my initial thought process of that. In order to actually be successful, you need to make a big difference to the economy and make some sort of new product. But when I started to kind of branch off, and then econ came into the space, and then I was looking at, obviously the crypto market was the first trade I ever took. I took a long on Bitcoin at, what was it? 9K USD, right? I remember as well, when I started consistently taking around, I'd say 30K a month in the early days of prop firm payouts, okay? I had quite a large group of friends actually from the town that I'm from. And I was told by one of them, because I was closer and he wasn't saying anything, but he was overhearing conversations that were just about, you know, myself. And they were saying, because at the time I was only making 30K a month, and they were saying, if he's making this much money, how is he not flying on jets, doing this, that? And it's like, with 30K a month, a flight on a jet costs minimum 15 to 20K USD, and that's if you're flying from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, right? So, you know, not going to get you very far. As far as flying on jets, I think, you know, it's something which is even out of my caliber of where I'm currently at. Eventually I'll get to that point. Yes, I can fly on a jet, but it really does not see the difference or even make sense. You know, time-wise, I'm not in a rush with time. Yes, I don't like wasting time, but the difference of me taking a business or a jet, there's not much of a difference. You know, I'm getting a bed in business and I'm flying just fine. Now, if you choose to fly on a jet and you take it from, say, Thailand to Abu Dhabi, that flight's going to run you about $40,000 to $50,000 on a light jet. So I'd rather use that same 40K and either apply it into my live account crypto portfolio or put it as a down payment for another off-plan project. But it's mostly influencer space, right? You know, that's why they take these short flights, the empty jet leg flights from Miami to Bahamas. It's only 5K. But they do it for the social media, they do it for the views of that. They managed to get themselves on a light jet from Miami to Bahamas for a 30-minute flight, but they have 4 hours of recording somehow, you know? So, you know, I have no need. But yes, in the future, the actual goal is that I do buy a jet. I will be buying a jet in the future, but right now I'm not at that level to be buying a jet. Jets range from about 10 to 15 million USD for a decent jet. And only if you get to the point where you fly so much, you should even buy a jet. Otherwise, you should charter the jets. If you fly, 250 hours or whatnot, and you're flying all over the place, it makes sense. But yeah, maintenance, all that stuff, that's going to run you 5 to 7 figures, right? Just owning it. A year. Yeah, I mean, you know, in the starting stages, guys, it is very good to be a lunatic, okay? Your first set of payouts, you've done your first 50K a month. Maybe spend 70% of your income. Let's say you make 50 in August or 50 in October of this month. Okay, go ahead, spend 40, enjoy it, but get to the point where you've done it all. You've been Miami, buy yourself a nice car, go Vegas, go New York, go LA, go Dubai. Once you've been to all of these places, you'll get to the point where you don't really care anymore and you'll only want to grow as fast as possible as far as business-wise. You want to be growing your live account, crypto portfolio for when it is there and the opportunity presents, and real estate portfolio. And that's the only thing that really excites you is when you have those goals in place. But when you're burning through money left, right, and center, and not really achieving anything, essentially wasting time, but also enjoying life. But you can enjoy it to an extent to where you become unfulfilled, right? So that's when they say money doesn't buy happiness, but money does buy freedom, which does buy happiness, okay? But without a goal and incentive, if you lose that goal, you then become unhappy. That's exactly how it works. If you end up spending too much time where you're just spending money, you then become unhappy. It's a real and it's a true thing. But if you balance it right, you live a nice lifestyle, but disciplined at the same time, you have a nice routine in place, you know, that's peak life right there. Most people don't understand how to still enjoy life without being a degenerate. Well, we're all degenerates in our own ways, you know what I mean? It really depends how you state it. Do you like to ride bikes fast? Do you like to go out for a shisha? Do you like cigars? You know. Everyone's got their own thing. Everyone's got to get a hit of dopamine some way. And if you don't, you're just weird. Everyone does something, right? Whether they go out to the club, they ride bikes fast, they go to the gym and they take pre-workout. There's all stimulants in itself, you know. So someone does something, right? Drugs, no. Drugs is it's off the charts. It's off the radar, right? I don't even know why people would even consider that. What's the point? We're gonna sit there and think, oh, I'm floating in the air. Nah. What's the fucking point? I don't know. I've never done drugs in my life. Never. I can't even be bothered. Never would bother with that stuff. I've seen what it's done to, old friends of mine, and they've fallen off a cliff. Can't even hold a conversation. Completely cooked they are. Gold diggers. Well, I mean, I think every female deserves a good lifestyle, and to an extent where it's a good exchange, right? So she's there and she's not, because you always know if a female's trying to abuse someone, right, financially. It's pretty obvious because she starts demanding things like which are off the charts, like she's trying to build some sort of crypto portfolio of what you're offering to her, or what she's asking for. She's trying to run a business. That's when you know. But there's plenty of females that are not like that, but it really does depend again on location. If you get yourself down in Miami, okay, so that's us taken out of that position, and that is going to be, okay, right, let me work this out. So essentially we moved our stops to break even, right? So our stops were at break even. I entered at 3,450, okay, and then got taken out. So it would be minus 0.05R. I mean, it's a break-even trade, okay? So that was the position that we just took. Let's take a look at the Discord chat. So we had this bearish order block here that got inversed, and it's paired with the gap on NQ, shifted on both assets. And then as soon as we took the first high, we trailed to the most recent swing low, which here on the 1 minute, we trailed to here, and the entry was also at the same point. So our fill made the swing low. And obviously I got filled with 2 to 3 handles of slippage. So essentially that's closed the month off at a 7R month. 7R. So lovely month of October. So that concludes our lunch macro. I'm just reading the chat here. I'm trying to see what. That's pretty much it. Yeah, no one's really saying too much. And this week, what have we closed? Someone put the figures in for this week. What have we closed this week? So we had one trade at the start of the week on Tuesday, I believe, which was minus 0.02R, which was break even. We had this trade, which was minus 0.02R again. And then we had a 2.4R profit yesterday. So what does that give us for this week then? $2.35, 2.3R on the week. The previous week was minus 1R of a trade that shouldn't have been taken. So that's fine. But obviously, that was a very rare mistake. And then the week before that, we closed up a 2.2R. Okay, so as far as the Discord side of things, that is plus so in the last 3 weeks, that is obviously the average. So we are on for basic average last 3 weeks. So 4.5 R. Yeah, so since you guys have obviously been watching me trade live, we are currently up 4.5 R, and then the week prior to that I closed up, what was it? Closed up around 4 R, yeah, so 4 R. That's 7 R in the month. Lovely stuff. 200k a month. So what was the result for you guys? Did you get a break-even result pretty much? I mean, it is basically smack bang on break-even. Can you explain why we moved stop loss to break-even aggressively? So we didn't go to break even, right? We went to the previous swing low after taking the swing high. That is something that we do every single time. We have Chasen worst month of the year. How come, brother? How come? This month's been great. So you've closed out minus 5R this month. That's okay, you know, obviously maybe the model that you was looking for through this month was slightly different to the way that we trade. You know, that you guys have seen the past 3 weeks of October and the way that we've monitored price. We've taken little to no trades at all-time highs. Currently up 4.5R as a collective group, and then prior at the first week of the month was a clean week as well. I think the laptop's about to go, but guys, that does conclude the session for Friday, and it wraps up our whole month. So hopefully you found some value out of the streams, you know, since we started. I think you guys have, you know, gained some sort of value out of the live streams as well. Over the weekend, I want you guys to spend time backtesting, okay? I want you to spend Saturday to review the trades that we have taken, okay? And write down important questions that you want to ask for Monday as well. So if you are backtesting and you're like, oh, I don't really know, well, first place that you do go is to the Discord inside the questions chat. There is many helpful people inside of this group that will be willing to answer your question, including myself. And if the question does not get fulfilled by that, then bring it to the stream. How much did I lose in this trade? Over all of my accounts, a few $1,000s. So it is a break-even trade. I know it sounds a few $1,000s, that's break-even. So it's just below this, a negative minus 0.2R, around that 0.3, 0.2, about 0.2. Exactly, it was slippage and fees. All right, perfect. Well, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday. You know, enjoy Halloween if you do that stuff or whatever. I will speak to you guys for Monday, and I will be making upgrades to the Discord over the weekend, adding new channels and filling out ones that need to be completely filled out. Okay, take it easy, guys. I'll speak to you shortly.